Maria and welcome to SC Global News. From the constitutional amendment passed by the Hungarian parliament banning LGBTQ plus pride parades to the 33 individuals preparing to enter into full communion with the Catholic Church in Edinburgh this Easter, we have many stories to cover. Hungary's parliament passed a constitutional amendment on April 14 that gives the government power to ban LGBTQ plus pride parades and restricts public expression of gender identity. The amendment, which passed with a two-thirds majority, prioritizes children's moral and spiritual development over the right to peaceful assembly and expands state surveillance and fines for participants. Prime Minister Viktor Orban's conservative government has previously banned LGBTQ plus content for minors and limited adoption by same-sex couples.
Hungary's parliament passed a constitutional amendment on Monday, April 14th that allows the government to ban parades by LGBTQ plus communities. The amendment, which required a two-thirds vote, passed along party lines with 140 votes for and 21 against. The amendment codifies a law fast-tracked through the parliament in March 2025. The Associated Press reported that the amendment declared that children's rights to moral, physical, and spiritual development supersede any right other than the right to life, including the right to assemble peacefully. The government can now use facial recognition technology to identify those who attend public pride events and fine participants up to 200,000 Hungarian forints. The amendment also recognizes only two sexes, male and female, expanding on an earlier amendment that prohibited child adoption by same-sex couples by stating that a mother is a woman and a father is a man. In a statement released on Monday, government spokesperson Zoltán Kovács said that the change was not an attack on individual self-expression, but a clarification that legal norms are based on biological reality. In 2021, Hungarian lawmakers approved legislation that prohibits sharing with minors any content portraying homosexuality or sex reassignment. In addition to protecting children from woke ideology, Viktor Orban's government has introduced economic reforms to support families and encourage higher birth rates to address the nation's demographic crisis.
On April 13th, Palm Sunday, an Israeli airstrike reportedly struck Al Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza, the region's only Christian hospital and a vital cancer treatment center, killing 3 patients, including a child. Israeli church leaders around the world has condemned the attack, which has also damaged adjacent church buildings and marked the 5th reported strike on hospitals since the war began in 2023.
Church leaders have condemned the Israeli military's airstrike on Al Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza, the region's only Christian hospital and sole cancer treatment center, which took place on the morning of April 13th, Palm Sunday. The Israeli Defense Forces conducted a wave of airstrikes on Palm Sunday with 2 missiles reportedly targeting the hospital in Gaza City. According to Churches for Middle East Peace, a coalition of 22 U.S. church denominations and organizations, 3 patients were killed in the strike. Among them was a 12-year-old child who was receiving care for a head injury and died during the chaotic evacuation. The Episcopal Diocese of Jerusalem condemned the airstrikes in the strongest terms in a statement issued on April 13th. According to the statement, this marks the 5th attack since the war began in 2023. The hospital's 2-story genetic laboratory was demolished, while the pharmacy and emergency department buildings were also damaged. The nearby St. Philip's Church building suffered significant structural damage. The Orthodox Patriarchate of Jerusalem also issued a statement in the wake of the tragedy. Condemning the systematic targeting of healthcare institutions, it stated, quote, "The stripping away of such sanctuaries of life and dignity is a tragedy that transcends all boundaries of politics and enters the realm of the sacred," end quote. The Patriarchate called upon the faithful to respond in prayer and to bear witness to the enduring truth that mercy is stronger than hatred. Meanwhile, the IDF issued a statement on X claiming it had dismantled a Hamas command and control center inside Al Ahli Hospital. The military also asserted that it had taken steps to mitigate harm to civilians on the hospital compound, including issuing advance warnings, using precision munitions, and conducting aerial surveillance. The Episcopal Diocese of Jerusalem, however, stated that the hospital staff were only given 20 minutes to evacuate the premises. CMAP has called on the U.S. administration and the government to withhold all arms transfers to Israel, citing violations of international law and the devastating impact on Gaza's civilian population. CMAP further called on Christians, Americans, and all people of goodwill to demand a comprehensive and permanent ceasefire, an end to all violence, the release of Israeli and international hostages held in Gaza, and the release of Palestinian prisoners held unjustly. The coalition emphasized the urgent need for a negotiated settlement to end the cycle of violence between Israelis and Palestinians.
The White House is planning an extraordinary program for the Holy Week, with President Trump set up to participate in a series of events honoring both the lead up to Easter and Easter Sunday itself, giving the occasion the observance it deserves. The week-long schedule has been organized by the newly established White House Faith Office, which has curated a special celebration in preparation for Easter. The White House has announced its plans for the Christian Holy Week, which will feature a Wednesday dinner and a Thursday religious service with Christians from various communities. On Palm Sunday, President Donald Trump issued a faith-filled message in honor of the Holy Week. To commemorate the occasion, the White House will host a dinner and prayer service on Wednesday, which will be live-streamed online. On Thursday, a second event will take place, a prayer and worship service featuring Christian hymns performed by musicians affiliated with Liberty University, a private Christian institution. The White House statement highlighted the key events that define Holy Week, including Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem, the Last Supper on Holy Thursday, his crucifixion on Good Friday as a sacrifice for humanity's sins, and ultimately his miraculous resurrection from the dead on Easter Sunday. Jennifer Cohn, director of the White House Faith Office, shared that Trump is hosting these events to ensure that the Holy Week is honored with observance it deserves. According to reports, Trump administration is planning a special Easter staff worship ceremony featuring Franklin Graham as well as pastors Greg Lowry and Jentison Franklin. Cohn described the establishment of Faith Office as a historic milestone, emphasizing that it differs from past presidential initiatives and noting that something like this has never been done in the West Wing. She also noted that President Trump decorated the Oval Office with two gold angel figurines positioned on opposite sides of the room. During a meeting, she recalled him pointing toward the ceiling and explaining that angels were placed there to watch over the Oval Office, symbolizing protection over both his presidency and the work of his administration. Catholic convert and entrepreneur Jimmy Lai has been named a 2025 recipient of the honorary Bradley Prize from the Lind and Harry Bradley Foundation for his unwavering commitment to press freedom. As Lai is currently imprisoned by the Chinese Communist Party, his son, Sebastian Lai, will accept the honor on his behalf at the Bradley Prizes ceremony on May 29th. Imprisoned Hong Kong entrepreneur and pro-democracy activist Jimmy Lai will receive the honorary Bradley Prize from the Lind and Harry Bradley Foundation. The Chinese Communist Party arrested Jimmy Lai in 2020, accusing him of violating the controversial national security law and put him in solitary confinement, even denying him medical care. Rick Graber, the president of the foundation, said in a press release, quote, "Jimmy's extraordinary courage and deeply held beliefs in journalistic integrity, human dignity, and democracy are an inspiration to all who value freedom," end quote. Graber stated that despite pressure from the Chinese Communist regime to silence his views, Lai continued to advocate for truth and transparency. His sacrifice serves as a beacon of hope for those fighting against tyranny, and we are proud to award him with an honorary Bradley Prize, the statement read. Sebastian Lai will receive the award on his father's behalf at the Bradley Prizes ceremony on May 29th at the Dark Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. In a statement, Sebastian Lai said, quote, "Thank you for reminding the world that his cause is not lost. Good people must now fight for his freedom as he fought for theirs," end quote. The Lind and Harry Bradley Foundation is a philanthropic legacy of two brothers, Lind and Harry Bradley. The Bradley Prizes honor scholars and practitioners whose accomplishments reflect the foundation's mission to restore, strengthen, and protect the principles and institutions of American exceptionalism. The Coming Home Network, in collaboration with St. Paul Center for Biblical Theology, will host the first ever Clergy Convert Conference. This weekend-long event will feature speakers such as Marcus Grody, Scott Hahn, and Ken Hensley, and several others. The conference is designed to foster fellowship among former non-Catholic pastors and ministers who have entered or are preparing to enter the Catholic Church. The first ever Clergy Convert Conference will be hosted by the Coming Home Network next month to encourage fellowship among former Protestant and other non-Catholic pastors and ministers who have become Catholic or are preparing to enter the church. The weekend-long retreat from May 30th to June 1st will be held in Steubenville, Ohio. In collaboration with St. Paul's Center for Biblical Theology, the conference will feature various speakers. The Coming Home Network is an organization with the mission to help non-Catholic Christians, clergy, and laity discover the truth and beauty of Catholicism and to make the journey home to full communion with the Catholic Church. The executive director of the network, John Mark, emphasized that the network remains a source of support even after pastors enter the Catholic Church. He further explained, quote, "Even after they become Catholic and find employment, there is an ongoing journey of discovering and embracing their new identity," end quote. Speaking about the upcoming conference, John Mark shared that the network hopes to make it an annual event. In 2024, the network worked with 99 pastors, which was almost the double amount it helped in 2022. The network caters to more than 10,000 Coming Home members from more than 200 religious and denominational backgrounds. 33 individuals from St. James Parish in St. Andrews are set to enter into full communion with the Catholic Church during the Easter Vigil at St. Mary's Cathedral in Edinburgh. Over the past year, the group has been preparing through RCIA process under the guidance of Monsignor Patrick Burke. The conversion reflects a growing trend of young people seeking deeper meaning through faith in today's world.
12 catechumens and 21 candidates from a single parish in Scotland will enter into full communion with the Catholic Church during the Easter Vigil. St. James Parish in St. Andrews, under the Archdiocese of St. Andrews in Edinburgh, has been preparing these 33 individuals for baptism and confirmation over the past year. St. James Catholic Church has a long history, beginning in 1864 with the establishment of a formal mission to provide the sacraments to local Catholics. A temporary church was constructed in 1884 by Father George Angus, the first parish priest since the Reformation. The Catholic community has since flourished under the leadership of various dedicated priests. Currently, Monsignor Patrick Burke serves as the parish priest. Ilhan Al-Yilmaz, a 23-year-old student from Turkey who will receive the sacraments of baptism, confirmation, and the Eucharist, said he enjoyed the rite of Christian initiation of adults process at the parish. He added that Monsignor Burke's wit made each week's lessons about the faith endlessly entertaining. 20-year-old Alexander Paris from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was drawn to Catholicism by a friend from St. Andrews. Influenced by this friend, he began attending Mass and reading more about the faith, which led him to realize that his understanding of morality and Western civilization was deeply rooted in the teachings of Christ and his Church. Monsignor Patrick Burke said that the Catholic Church offers meaning, beauty, truth, and transcendence. He added that many young people today, aware of a certain shallowness in contemporary culture, are seeking a deeper sense of truth and meaning. Archbishop Leo Cushley of the Archdiocese of St. Andrews and Edinburgh reflected on why increasing numbers of young people under the age of 35 are being drawn to the Catholic Church.
Gen Z have grown in an age saturated by social media. In the midst of that, perhaps more young people are discovering in the Christian faith something deeper, something lasting, a peace that doesn't depend on likes and shares, a sense of belonging not to a feet but to a family of faith that stretches back 2,000 years and reaches into eternity. The quiet courage of any young person choosing faith is a sign that God is still at work in the world.
The 33 catechumens and candidates will be received into full communion with the Church during the Easter Vigil Mass at 8 p.m. in St. Mary's Cathedral, Edinburgh.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.